Hi, I'm Mike, owner of the In-Groove in Phoenix, Arizona. Today I'm going to do a video showing you guys some of the stuff that I have recently acquired for my own collection. These are records that have been brought into the store, records that I have found out in the wild, records that I've purchased online. I've done this type of video quite a few times in the past, and I kind of enjoy it. It's kind of a chance for me to talk about some new things, some things that are recent arrivals, new audiophile records, that type of thing. But it gives me an opportunity to talk about records that aren't really talked about very much. Although this first record I'm going to show you is a record that is talked about all the time. What's cool about this particular record I'm holding is its condition. I actually found this while record shopping in Phoenix. Now, that's not something that I do very often. Matter of fact, I haven't actually set foot into another record store in about a year until I popped into this record store out on, in the East Valley. And they had recently purchased a pretty good sized jazz collection. So it kind of inspired me to go in there and see what was up. Didn't end up buying any jazz records, but I ended up buying this. Pet Sounds in Mono. It is not my preferred way to listen to this record. Matter of fact, I will actually never listen to this record, but it is the genuine article. It is the mono pressing, and it is in shrink. It has the hype sticker telling people, hey, you can listen to this on a stereo record player. It has a removed price tag up on the top right, but the record is in just fantastic shape. Now, it actually had kind of that paper scuffing that you get. I don't know if you'll be able to make it out if I show you guys here. But it has actually that paper scuffing that you get from a record being stored for so long inside of a paper inner. It is generally not audible. Almost never is it audible. And typically you find it on records that were not played, records that have sat in the jacket for decade upon decade upon decade. I know a lot of people will look at it and be like, oh, this record's trash. It's actually something, if I'm looking for a listening copy of something, a lot of times that's something when I see, I'm like, ooh, nice. It's got a splotchy look to it, but the record is going to play like new, and it's not been played. It's not been played to death. But just a cool acquisition. Now, I have multiple copies of this. I haven't gone through and actually decided what copy this is going to replace, but I'm pretty sure it is actually going to replace something. The other record that I actually picked up when I was there was this. Deja Vu, Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young. I know, it's a really common record, but this is a white label promo, which is very uncommon. I had a white label promo, I believe, of the Couch album, but I didn't have a copy of Deja Vu. And what I thought was kind of cool about this is there is the Analog Productions 45 RPM coming out. I've got mega high hopes for it. It's probably going to be fantastic. The series in general has been fantastic. The Couch album is just absolutely bomb. If you don't have it, I know it's 45 RPM. That's a ginormous pain for a lot of people. You're going to love that record. It is absolutely awesome. But I'm looking forward to being able to actually compare the 45 RPM to a white label promo and many other records, that I have of that title. Okay, this next one is a record that you might think to yourself, well, Mike, you're a MoFi guy. How do you not have this record? And I have every other Frank Sinatra record that MoFi ever did, but I didn't have Sinatra at the Sands. And there's a story to it. And every time I thought about it until recently, it's drove me absolutely crazy. So I bought this record when it was in print from Mobile Fidelity. It arrived with a seam split. They took it back. I mailed it back, but it went out of print. I didn't know it was out of print. It went out of stock to / out of print. And then it started creeping up in price. And I'm like, and this was like 2000, maybe 14, 15, and there were so many records coming out at that point in time. I thought to myself, I don't really need to rush out and get this. I got other stuff I can get. Well, it got to the point where this was like a $125 record, and I bought it online. But when I got it, it looked like somebody had rested their beer on it like a coaster, because there was like a perfect circle that almost was sweating. It looked like somebody used it as a coaster. So I had to send it back. And then not one copy in 9 years ever came into the store, ever. And I never sought it out because it just kept going up and up and up. But recently, somebody came in and traded all of their Mobile Fidelity Frank Sinatra titles in the store. I sold every one of them on the website in a pre-owned section, and then this particular copy I kept. So, absolutely love Frank Sinatra. Frank Sinatra live in the 60s is absolutely premium. You're not going to do better. Okay. These next two records I'm going to show you just walked in. It's so bizarre what just walks into the store. Guy pops in, just nonchalant me, hey, you buy records? Yeah, I buy records. And he just hands me these next two records. I'm like, these look interesting. I've never seen this before. And the first one is Feta Sprettrunzana Cariata by Jet. And I'm like looking at this. It's an Italian prog record. And I'm like looking at this thing, and I have no idea what this is. He's not acting like, hey, man, I got a couple of heavies for you. Are you interested? But I'm looking at this thing, and it's got this wicked cover that opens up, and it's like die cut. And I'm like looking at this thing. I'm like, holy cow. I look it up on Discogs, and my eyes just went like, okay, that's the spicy meatball. Anyways, I look it up online. It had a little bit of the same type of splotching, storage splotching, that you get on long store records. But the cover was so nice. I'm imagining that's just a cover that absolutely got destroyed. It had just an ever so slight warp. But I gave it a listen. I'm not a huge prog fan. But there's something about, I'm Italian. I grew up in an Italian family. I don't know. There was just something for me when I, hearing the music, which is quite good, a lot of more organ-based prog, but when I was listening to it and they just start singing in Italian, I don't know. Just, I dug it. I'm almost positive it's something I'll keep for a while, but this is one of those records I'm going to listen to a few times and I'll make my mind up. It's quite good, but it's not typically normally the thing I buy, but it is quite good. The next one is along the same vein. That is L'Voio di Columbio. Yeah, on EMI. This is another. Let me see, another Italian prog record. Beautiful laminated cover. Extremely excellent condition. Played it. It's another fantastic record. So I just got them both, took them home, figured I'd fondle them a little while. I've got a huge chunk of stuff that, even some stuff I've showed in the past videos, that I'm actually going to be bringing to the store and putting on our pre-owned section, because I'm getting to the point where I'm thinning out a lot of stuff. I'm going back and I'm listening to it again, and I'm seeing if I still love it as much as I did 5, 10, 20 years ago when I brought it into my collection. This next record is just not uber high-end like the last two, or even actually everything I've brought into this point, but a record that is absolutely impossible to find in good playable condition. I actually bought a Meridian Sulus maybe 20 years ago, and it was this particular album was on that Sulus, and I just became in love with this record, and have never been able to find a clean copy on vinyl. It is absolutely a extremely difficult record to find clean. Ike and Tina Turner, Out of Season. Fantastic record. Here is Ike in whiteface, which cracks me up. It's hilarious. Ike in whiteface eating a watermelon. Am I allowed to laugh at that? I don't know. I just find it great. I love Ike. There is actually Tina on the back in whiteface eating a watermelon. Anyways, this came from the Tucson collection. I've been showing this for years. I've been going through this collection. I didn't even realize this was in the box. I've been finding more of the boxes because we're making some good headway on records that have been stored in the back for years. But beautiful record, unplayed. I mean, if this was played, it was maybe played once. Fantastic shape. The cover's in fantastic shape. I played it. It plays like a new record. I was so stoked to get it. I played it like 4 times already in the store. Great record. There's a few other Tina Turner records from this era. Kind of... the earlier era, but I was able to add from my collection to this. But I absolutely love Ike and Tina. Ike was, unfortunately, because of the movie and the personal stuff between the two of them. His place, I think, has kind of been lost, but he is such a musical icon. He was, for music, when we're talking about just music now, he was an absolute pioneer, did so much for rock, R&B, and those early 60s Ike and Tina Turner records are just absolutely amazing. Okay, this next record brings me back to my childhood, growing up in the 90s. I was very politically into, I don't talk about politics whatsoever online. It has, and who the hell cares what my politics are? That is, I'm never going to change anybody's opinion on anything, and nobody's ever going to really change my opinion. Although I watch both sides. I like to pride myself on being, nobody agitates me so much that I can't listen to what they have to say. But I was always kind of a policy wonk in the 80s or in the 90s. And it was like peak comedy for, with the Bill Clinton scandal going on. It was kind of a funny time. You'd turn on late night and all the late night shows would pick up on it, and radio stations would do like spoofs. And there was this local shock jock, Bubba the Love Sponge in Florida, where I grew up, kind of a heavier version of Howard Stern. And I mean heavier, I mean more shock jock than Howard. He kind of made Howard a little bit tame. Anyways, he used to play this song on his show all the time. And at the time, I actually always thought that this was something, because he had a guy that would do spoofs. And I always thought that Bill So Horny, essentially what it is 2 Live Crews, Me So Horny, but it's Bill So Horny, and it's kind of like a spoof of Bill and Monica doing things in the Oval Office, if you know what I mean. But I thought it was a spoof. I mean, I've known for years that it wasn't. It was actually something that they just happened to be playing. But I never knew. I actually found this record in the George Benson collection. So here it is, 2 Live Crews, Bill So Horny. I just find this hilarious. So when I listen to it, it just, boom, brings me to my childhood, when I was a teenager. But there it is on Little Joe Records. Bill So Horny, you've got the explicit and the clean version, and then they actually put Me So Horny on there, the explicit and the clean version. And you can see it's kind of somewhat of a cartoonish, risque cover. But there it is, from the George Benson collection. It was unplayed. I don't think it was something he was really listening to. And some of the records that were in that collection, especially this type of stuff, I believe were once upon a time owned by his son. So probably not even George's record, but it was in the collection I bought from George Benson. Very cool. Okay, so going back to digging through the 2 sound boxes, one of my absolute favorite bands of the 80s is New Order. And pretty much all of the records from that collection, again, almost everything was untouched. I got a lot of those records I'm going to start putting on Whatnot. But a lot of those records were untouched. And from that collection, I just found beautiful, unplayed promo copies of New Order records. I have every one of these records many, many, many times over. But to find like unplayed, near mint copies, all with the gold promo sticker on, or, the promo foiling on them, more than likely these will replace, the foiling's on the bottom. More than likely these will replace a copy I have at the house, but I got Technique, very difficult record to get on vinyl. Another record that was pretty much impossible to get. So hard to find. Very seldomly ever came into the store. Finally got repressed. But look at this. Gold stamped copy of New Order. Substance. Absolute fantastic copy of Low Life with a hype sticker, because this again was a DJ promo. The hype sticker that would have normally been on the shrink, a lot of times were affixed directly to the cover. The strap was on there. It was torn in half. I just the wax paper strap, just stuffed it in there. Brotherhood. I love every one of these records. And to this day, when I go through my streaming platform, you can check and see what you listen to the most. New Order is the most listened band played at the In-Groove in the last 8 years. I mean, I play a significant amount of New Order. Actually, I got a copy of this in my collection, autographed by Peter Hook, when I saw him 2 shows ago here in the Valley. Great. The first show was really great. second show is kind of like he was more of a spectator at his own concert, so not as good. But listening to that music still live is fantastic. New Order was kind of a band that I want to see. They played recently at the Hollywood Bowl, and I looked it up, like relatively affordable or relatively close tickets were $2,500 a piece. And I'm like, it's not like I've never paid $2,500 for a ticket. I just couldn't justify paying $2,500 to see New Order. I don't know why. It's one of my absolute favorite bands at an iconic venue up close. I really should have just bit the bullet and did it, but a crazy amount of money. This next record, I actually had in a box in the back. It was a record that I had put aside for put aside a while back. And I feel like when I did in the back of my mind, when I did my shootout video for the wall, my particular copy was missing the cover with the shrink and the sticker. So I thought, now is time. I found this copy. I feel like this is a really good, clean copy. Let's check it out. But I figured, you know what? I found this copy. Oh my God, it's brand new. That's some gloss right there. But I figured now I probably have 100 copies of The Wall. I want to say The Wall is the record that I have by far and away the most variations. I've got every kind of a variation you can imagine from every kind of country, all the different. It's a nuts. My biggest collection is in The Wall. But I don't know. This is another record that it was just so clean, so immaculate. I'm like, let me bring this thing home and compare it against what I have and then bring some other stuff back to the store, some dupes. I would say about 5 or 6 of these records are replacing other records. So some of the stuff will make it back to the In Groove. Okay, guys, check us out online at theingroove.com. Until next time.